What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Immortal Minds. I am DDK, of course, and I'm joined by Puckett. What's up, Puckett?
Hey, buddy.
Nice. And Angel, special guest Angel. How's it going, man? All the way from Europe?
Oh, everything is great. We qualified for the first track, so everything's perfect.
Yeah, for those who don't know Angel, guys, we got to give a little background here, Dan. This guy is a legend. From Ukraine, we saw you back in the CS days, making the move over to Valorant this year. Really excited to have you on the show, not only because of your awesome career, Angel, but because of your tweets that we're going to be talking quite a bit about today. How many people were tweeting back after your NA versus EU trash talk last night?
You think I count or what? A lot. I know that it's a lot for sure.
All right, we'll be bringing that up. Sorry to derail, Dan. Keep it going.
No, it's all good. I think, actually, so for those that aren't CS people and haven't been around for a long time, they might not be familiar with your history, Angel. So I feel like it might be a good place to start to kind of, like, if you were to describe your history in esports, I know it's been like 16, 17 years you've been playing like competitively, but if you were to describe that to people that didn't know you, how would you do that?
First of all, hello, Overwatch players. Second of all, I probably played on the different levels all this time. I started from local Ukrainian scene, was climbing up there. It was still in 1.6 times. Then CSGO came out. I came up with Virtus Pro lineup, which was also pretty successful.
Successful? Yep.
Exactly. I don't like English, sorry, boys. And I think we've beat an AP first on LAN. And then it was Astana Dragons, not the best experience in terms of winning. And then it was 6 or so years of Hellraisers when we tried to build rosters, new roster every few years, with trying to bring some new upcoming talents, young players. At some point it went international. We went twice into Legends, I think, with some new faces on CSGO majors. Nothing super exciting, yeah, but I was always on tier 2 level of CSGO.
Were you always the in-game leader for your squads throughout your entire career?
I think from CSGO, yes. When the CSGO started, I was always the in-game leader there.
And I saw on Wikipedia, they actually listed you as an entry fragger. How would you describe your Counter-Strike playstyle?
Just basically entry fragger, actually. I know not a lot of in-game leaders like this role from what I've seen, but it's the way I'm comfortable with. I'm a really aggressive player. I feel comfortable in terms of playing aggressive. Yeah. And it's actually really comfortable to call when you're dead. A lot of people underestimate it. That you actually see all the 4 monitors, right? You know what's happening. You're not in action. You can analyze everything. So it's kind of benefit also for me when I play.
I think as well, one thing that I think that when you guys first were coming up with FPX and getting some good results, we saw you being the entry with Brimstone, and that's obviously also not necessarily a choice that many people would make with Brimstone. So what's the deal with the aggressive Brimstone?
It's the combination of me and Brimstone, basically. It's nothing it's just the way I like to play, and how it's really comfortable for me to play. And the Brimstone was my agent, so I have nothing else to do just to get an entry fragger Brimstone role. Kind of, you just smoke all over the place and you just run in, right? You can't help your team that much after you use your smokes already, and when you cold everything. So it worked kind of fine, and I think the same works for Omen. Obviously, yes, it's bad if you die early. That's why I just try to kill instead of dying.
There you go. I like that. Can you tell us about your career decision to move over to Valorant? What was it about this game that caught your eye, or why did you want to hang up CSGO and make a move?
To be honest, I was pretty bored in CSGO for the last few years.
Okay.
It was the same for me all the time, building a roster from zero, from scratch, then some bigger org just buying him out or his contract ends, and it's never-ending story. Yeah, and it takes a lot of energy actually to build the roster. And I just felt at some point, maybe like 1.5 years ago or so, that I'm just kind of tired. I don't have that amount of energy that I had like before in terms of like building new roster once and again. And but there was no Valorant at this point. So I just like kept working, keep trying to do, but I wasn't doing my best. That's for sure. Like for like a year or maybe year and a half in CS:GO.
Okay.
I love to play different other games, yeah, and it's not the best way to approach the CS:GO, to be honest. Like playing other games, especially FPS games, makes you
Right.
worse.
Throws off your aim a
Uh,
lot.
yeah, yeah. Let's be honest. So when the Valorant came out, it was kind of coincidence probably that I wasn't contracted to any org at this point. So I just went to Valorant and played it as much as possible, just to understand, do I love this game? Can I like spend few more years of playing it 24/7? And I was really surprised by these factors that it's super interesting in. It's like the tactical depth of it, it's like much higher than in CS:GO.
Okay.
You can create like so many new things. You don't need to copy anything. You basically at the beginning you're just creating something new, and this is what I like the most in game leader role. I don't like to follow anything. I like to follow the meta, watch some demos copying it. Obviously, yes, you can't just play without watching anything and like not knowing what other teams are doing. Yes, but one thing is completely copying their play style, yeah, like agent picks and stuff. And second way
Right.
is more like taking some little small details of it, which works, like some um, jet dash, yeah, into smoke or something. But creating your own game is the thing I like the most. And in CS:GO, it was really hard. Everything was already created. You just, it was just deciding what to use here, what better usage of like this strat, or this strat, right? You was just choosing between something was created already. In Valorant, it's not the same, and I feel like it's gonna be like this forever because like new agent every 3 months, new map every like 6 months. We'll have a lot of job to do. Let's be honest.
It'll keep you fresh for a while. Can you walk us through your road to getting on FPX? Because you started with Party Parrots, and when I first saw you on a roster, I was like, "Oh, I know that guy. That's Angel, who used to dominate for Hellraisers." So, how did you join up with Party Parrots? How long did that squad last? And then, how did you go about building the team you're currently on? Talk us through that process.
Like actually, there was a team before Party Parrots. It was just I would say random mix of like when Valorant just came out. I was like spending some time with like Crush and some other guys from previous Hellraisers roster, and there were some guys who was hanging out with them in their TeamSpeak, and we just like I just asked who have like the Valorant key at this point, yeah, who wants
Yep.
to play, because there was the problem at this point. Not a lot of people had Valorant, so we just created some mixed team which we played together. We discussed some things. We went into like top CIS, but it was like full random lineup. Then I just realized that there's like not enough skill to compete with the best in EU. So I just searched through the region, like to find some upcoming talents, bring them together. I'm not gonna lie, we didn't bring like the best possible roster in CS, but I didn't need it. At this point, I just needed to find the young players which I can guide to some top level. Yeah, I was really interesting. I needed this practice, you know, to like
Yeah.
building something in Valorant, like building a structure, trying out some agents to understand like how they work together in a pair, in a group, on attacking side, on defensive side. So it was just a nice experience for me in terms of building in some new game. And it appears it worked pretty well. We went into like top one in EU at some point, even like according to some ratings. Uh, and I liked it. Like I enjoyed all the time I spent with these guys, and really enjoyed building the team in Valorant. And this was like key moment for me. At this point, I decided to switch.
So it sounds sounds like Valor. Like one thing that we had from Nitro last weekend when we talked to him was he said that if you stop learning, you stop having fun. And one of the things with Valorant is, there's always something to learn. As you were talking about, like there's so much tactical diversity. There's always innovation to be had. Do you think that we're going to see a lot more CS:GO pros coming over because of the fact that Valorant it evolves a lot faster than CS?
It all depends on their do they like the game, right? If you don't like the game, you're not gonna be successful in it. So, and let's be honest, CS:GO players had a little edge at the beginning over any other players that coming from other games, but it's gone. It's literally gone. Valorant is completely different game. Not completely different. Let's be honest. Valorant is a CS:GO with skills, right?
Right.
But this edge disappearing slowly. So you never you can just come from CS:GO to Valorant right now and suddenly become a top player. You will need to grind. You will need to spend a lot of time. You will need to adapt to a new way of playing the game. So I'm not sure any CS:GO player right now can just join it. I think only the guys who love the game, who love the idea playing Valorant, could succeed here. So I'm not sure it. I expect more of a new talents from other games or just not even playing anything before would come up than more CS:GO players.
I found you in your CS history always playing with the CIS region. In this game, did you want to break beyond that? Because it sounds like from the get-go, you're teaming up with a lot of Russian players, a lot of familiar teammates. When did you make the decision to look at players from Sweden, which you're currently playing alongside of?
I will tell this story about building FPX. Yeah. First of all, at the point when I played Party Parrots, I wanted to play CIS roster. I wanted to speak on my mother language. It's much more comfortable for me. But no orgs in CIS was ready to jump into Valorant at this point. We talked with Navi. We had some talks with Virtus Pro manager. I'm not sure even Virtus Pro knows about it or not, but we had the talks with manager, and the amount of budget they had for Valorant at this point was ridiculously low. It's less than one player salary in EU they could spend for whole team.
Oh wow!
So I just realized that at this point I need to choose either I keep staying without a org for some time until they will understand how big is Valorant. And I had a lot of talks with Navi. My close friend is Navi COO, so we talked about Valorant with him, and he just said yeah, we can jump into Valorant, but it's not gonna be big. Yeah, and at this point I signed with the Prodigy agency, which helped me a lot.
Okay.
How it was at this when we played Party Bats, I told the Prodigy that at this point I want to go to CIS. Yeah. But when I talked with basically all the orgs in the region, I came to him and said, okay, maybe you have some offers for me for EU. Just tell me what is this offers, what is the players. Just we'll think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
And he came up with idea of merging. It basically was Jerome. Yeah, I say him, but it was Jerome, the Prodigy agency, who came up with the idea to merge Party Parrots with Fabriken, who was top 3. Both teams was top 3 at this point in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. I said, yeah, sure, we can try it out. We can play for 1 week together to see how it's going. We can try playing some tournaments. Obviously, I want to bring Shao with me because I think he's a raw talent. He's one of the best players in EU right now. That's how it worked, basically. And we played together. We found the roles we're comfortable with. And now we're FPX.
Okay, so how long were you guys together before you got signed by FPX? For those who don't know, FPX are the 2019 League of Legends World Champions. It's a Chinese organization, which blew my mind when I saw them signing an EU team. I was like, wait, they're signing this lineup? So how long were you guys together, and how did this contract come about with a group from China?
basically FPX was looking to to join the Europe, for a long time already. Basically, they tried to sign, remember, like heroic CS:GO roster at some point, but after ES3 tag left, they just canceled those. So they was looking for these opportunities, and our roster was obviously one of the best in terms of like going into Valorant. So we just had the talks. I think we had like 2 weeks talks about like contract stuff, about how they see, should we maybe like go to China or something. Like we try to know like more details about it. And when it appears that they want to build like such a full European roster, we agreed.
Awesome. So there was a chance you were going to compete in China?
No.
No, never gonna do it. Okay.
no, like it's interesting to travel there. It's interesting to spend like few months there, maybe like not maybe a few, but months. Playing with like local teams, playing some tournaments, but like completely transferred to China, it's too hard. I know it's gonna be too hard, especially for the young players.
Makes sense. Can you talk us through the roles on FPX? So as the in-game leader, you mentioned that you're an entry fragger. We saw you on Brim at the start of the game. I saw you on Viper recently, but talk me through building this team and the roles for everybody. Did everyone have set roles from their previous teams, or did you kind of come up with new positions?
It's like I have my own vision on the game. I built it in the patty parts. So how I see the Valorant, how it should be played. And I tried to adapt players to it. And it looks like they was born for these roles. It's like I needed a good bridge player, I needed a good like race player, solo player, and some Cypher Killjoy player, right? And I had it already. It's like it happened naturally.
That's nice.
So I don't think there is like some like support or carry roles in these games. You just need to do your role with your agent. Obviously, it's bad to have Cypher who's running first, right? And it's bad to have Breach who is running first, because like all his ability is created to support your teammates, to flash for them, to stun for them, to ult for them, do everything. And it seems like everyone feels super comfortable about it in our roster, and I'm happy about it. Obviously my role in team is a bit different from how the Brimstone or Omen or Viper should be played, but it works, so it's fine.
What do you think the hardest thing is for people coming from CS going to Valorant? I'd like to ask this question to people who were CS pros, because you played CS for so long that you must have certain ways of thinking, certain habits. Because, like you say, Valorant and CS are quite similar, so it would make sense that there are some habits that wouldn't make sense coming from CS to Valorant, but that you would have still.
In Valorant, you need to play much more aggressive to be successful. Like it's you have so many opportunities to do some plays, some unexpected plays with your agent. So you need to master your agent really hard. In CS:GO, you shouldn't you just play the game. You just play the game there. You learn some positions. You learn some like setups. I don't know. But in Valorant, you need to first of all learn your agent. You need to play like when I was trying to calculate the amount of games, from my point of view, you need to play like 150 games on agent to master it.
Whoa,
at least on a good level. And when I and you need to play it like matchmaking, you need to play it procs, you need to play it obviously on tournaments to know what is he able to do. You need to watch other players' games. So it's basically Valorant is about learning your agent more than your positions, I would say. And that is the main difference between CSGO and Valorant.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And to me as well, like I said this in previous podcasts too, in CS, I saw a lot of players come into the professional scene who are mechanically really good. And because the meta moves really slow in CS, sometimes you can have a player that's able to just be very good at one of those metas, but then they fall off straight away. So I've got a bit of echo here. But the question quickly is it a different type of player that will be successful as a Valorant player?
I think Valorant is much more harder in terms of thinking. It's like I feel like it's easier in terms of killing people it's like I don't know why. Maybe the models are slower. Maybe like hitboxes are bigger. I'm not sure, but it's easier to shoot here. But it's much. You need to think much deeper here. It's like you need to find the ways to play your agent well. You need to find the ways like how to always remember what other agents can do. So it's
Right.
much more about your brains than about your like mechanic skills here. Obviously, yes, mechanic skills is like, but for example, like I think in CSGO, mechanic skills is like 70%. Yeah, 70, 80%. Here is like 50 to 60. And everything else is like your brain, your decisions, your understanding of what enemy can do and adapting to.
So with that said, actually, there's another question I had for you about Valorant, which I think is interesting. It says CS has less variance because there's less abilities. You know, there's just less things happening in CS, and you have more rounds as well. You know, you have MR15, so more rounds, less variance. So is that something that, especially with some of the best of one formats, which are pretty criminal in Europe, but do you feel like it's a frustrating thing for the professional level to have a format that has so much variance because it's MR12? You know, you still have pistol rounds and stuff like that. So, you know, a pistol round is, you know, like in CS, you know, it's not particularly strategically or tactically in depth, and it can just come down to some headshots and so on. It's hard to predict. How do you feel about the variance in the game?
Like to be honest, I really like the MR12 format. And let's be honest, the amount of action here is much more than in CSGO. It's like it's so boring for me to watch CSGO matches nowadays, and not only because I'm watching the same teams fighting each other, but because like probably 50% of time is no action. It's like either Glock kick around, either guys are just saving because they lost the sight, either. So I feel like despite Valorant have like 12 max rounds 12, it have bigger amount of action, and even like eco frags became like much more interesting to watch because of abilities, because
Right.
of like pistols are pretty insane. Deagle is pretty insane in this game. So I don't feel that Valorant is more random than CSGO in terms of it having less rounds. Yeah. I feel like just it's more interesting to play. So MR12 is a perfect choice for it.
Yeah, I got to say, as like a extra point to that, as a broadcaster, I feel like it's a lot easier to communicate to the viewers what's actually important and where the action actually is happening in a round, because there's only one Brimstone. So if Brimstone is using his smokes for something, that tells you a lot about the round already. But in CS, you know, so many defaults and stuff like that, it's hard to really, I feel like, add a lot of weight to something that's happening in CS, unless it's, you know, obviously some, you know, some things are just obvious in CS, like guy wins a 1v3. Obviously, that's a big deal. But in Valorant, it feels like the lead up to the fight is a lot easier to tell the story. So from a broadcaster perspective, it's really engaging, I think.
I agree with you. I have nothing to add here.
Yeah.
Angel, I have a great question from the chat, and it's totally non-Valorant or CSGO related, and I shouldn't be asking it in the middle of the podcast, but I'm doing it anyway. Johnny Cap 126 wants to know, did you see Alexei Novikov win the World's Strongest Man competition? He's also Ukrainian.
No.
Yeah, I haven't seen every American achievement either. I just figured I'd ask it. All right, sorry, Johnny. There's the answer. Hard no.
I'm sorry, Johnny. I was like busy preparing for first strike. I would say.
Oh, we're glad you did. Can we talk a little bit about your recent matches, because you've pulled out a Viper on Bind and it broke everyone in America's brain. No one could understand why Viper would be in the mix, and you would go with a smokeless composition. Looking at your teammates, Meta was on Killjoy, you had Shadow on Sova, Shao was on Phoenix, and Zippin was on Raze. So with you on Viper, how does this work? How do you pull it off in your own ranked games tonight?
Actually, I have a video with it, like teaching people how to play Viper on Bind, for example.
Where do we find this video?
Unlucky that it's on Russian, so you're not gonna understand anything.
Okay,
but that's my plan. Like, I don't want everyone to know how to play Viper. Only like
just
my friends from CIS should know it. Yes,
exactly. There we go.
Obviously, I don't want to open like all the cards I have, but when we was like going through all the possibilities you can use in this game, we came up with the idea like Viper is good, especially after some buffs, but it's too much to change any other like key agent. Obviously, he can change Raze, Breach, or anyone else, right? And Viper is good on defensive side mostly, yeah. And we came up with the idea to play Viper as the main controller. And we were thinking through like which maps we can do it, how it's gonna look, how we need to adapt our pick into it, and basically you saw the result of our thinking. It's like the bind is the map where you don't really need a lot of smokes. Yeah, you either smoke like the only entrance towards defensive spawn on B or like heaven on A.
Right.
And you have like bonus at the wall, which also can cut something. So it's pretty possible, right, to play Viper. So we tried it, and we understand like it fits us. Yeah, it fits us really really well. We like added Phoenix into this pick because Phoenix is a good in terms of like going through Viper wall with the flash. It's not like a breach who needs a wall to flash through.
Yep.
And we just practiced a lot. We was analyzing like what is the like ups and downs of this pick and use the upsides of it.
Can you list off any other maps that you think Viper is viable on? Like, which maps am I justified in being upset at my teammate for insta-locking Viper? Let's just hit it from there. Is there any map that you should never play Viper on?
Are we talking about Viper as a main controller? Because I'm not looking at him, at her, I'm sorry, any other way. Like, I don't think like Bream and Viper or Omen and Viper in the same pick is good.
Okay,
it's limiting your like possibilities. So
you can only run her as main controller. Got it.
Well, from my point of view, obviously.
And what maps would you trust her on?
I'm not gonna tell you this. I don't want to open all the cards, but I can say Heaven is the worst map for it.
All right. Well, I think you already helped a lot of people by telling them that she's the main controller and don't combo with another smoke. So
no, it's like other people's choice. It's just my point of view. I'm not like telling it's 100% true, you know, or the only way to look on it.
Would you be willing to explain your logic on that? Why do you feel that she can only be used as a main controller, or should only be used as a main controller?
Because if you in your pick, if you have like two controllers, like Viper and Omen, for example, you're missing a lot of key. Like who can you change in your pick? Yeah, to get a Viper instead of someone. Breach, then you're losing tons of utility to help your team. Like Raze, you're losing a lot of like damage possibility, and obviously a boom bot, which is perfect to check the zones. Sova, like no way. Sova is one of the like strongest agents in the game. It gives so much info to your teammates, and a lot of executes can be worked out. And the drone is like a free way to check the position. So, and obviously you're not gonna replace the Sentinel, right? Like, not with the Viper. So I feel like if you're gonna bring in like two controllers into your pick, you're gonna lose in other aspects of game. So I don't think it's the right choice.
Understood. It's all about that balance. Well, thank you for breaking down the Viper argument. I have $50 saying that Viper will not be viable in competitive, and you almost lost me that 50 with just one map. But I think we have a rule. We have to see it by a larger percentage of the pro community. Do you think we'll see an uptick in Viper play over the next 3 months here, Angel?
I don't know. Probably, maybe some Vipers from us, maybe not. Like, it depends. We're preparing some new strats for like finals. Thankfully, we have like 2 weeks instead of 1 week. Yeah, we qualified the first one, so we have some time to prepare something new. I'm not like gonna lie to you and say it's gonna be something completely new, yeah, and something like meta breaking, because our goal is to win, right? It's not the best place to risk everything and to put some strat with like no smokes, for example, like Liquid did on Blast. I feel like we're coming for first strike to win it, so we're gonna come up with the best possible combos we can get.
Love it. Dan, I'll hand it back to you, but I just had him thoroughly explain Viper and whether or not she belongs in my game. The answer is no. Pro level, maybe.
Yeah, man. Definitely a big fan of Viper and what she can do. But I think also it leads into the point, too, that this game is really interesting because, I mean, we have already like a pool of like, what, 11 or 12 agents? No, 11? 13? 12. So one of those numbers.
I'm not sure, by the way.
and as you said, like we'll have more and more and more agents added to the game, and it's really interesting that you can have a lineup of players, and that unlike like CS, I mean CS is an interesting one. You can have different combinations of players doing different combinations of roles, but you kind of need every player to be able to do certain things very well. But it feels like in Valorant you can have, let's say, a roster and a compositions for that roster that's just for that team and those players. So that's also really interesting to me. And speaking of which, I think someone that's really stood out on FPX that I hadn't really seen before is Zipan. And how did you guys come across Zipan? How good is Zipan? Because he seems extremely good. And also, how do you think about him as a player, as an in-game leader, and like setting him up for success?
I feel like Zipan is the perfect guy on the damage dealer role, if there is like like one. Obviously his best agent is Raze, which gets tons of frags, deals tons of damage, and my role as an in-game leader is to just feel his presence on the map with a team play sense. I'm like something like this. Like he needs to war like on attacking side, he needs to do his part on a default. Yeah, every agent like needs to do his role. Like Ray's role, for example, like is destroying like cipher traps when she's able to do it. Is to check some crucial positions with his boom bot. Yeah, and I feel we're doing really great. I'm not limiting him in anything. Yeah, and to be honest, I'm really happy if any player plays as he wants to, and it's my job to put like the game he wants to play into team's game, right? So with Zipan it works pretty well. He does what he loved the best. He's just like killing people, like, and he also doing his job on attacking side, which I like really appreciated.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, go
Did
ahead.
he come from Fortnite? Did I read that right? Okay, so how did you feel about bringing someone from outside the CS world? Did you have any second guesses, or the first time you saw him in a match, you're like, okay, I can trust him to frag for me?
I don't know. I never split the players between who came from Overwatch, Fortnite, or CS:GO. I don't care if he's good on the Valorant server. I'm fine with it. Like if nothing else.
Easy enough there. Can we get to your spicy tweet? Can I jump there, Dan? I know we got about 25 minutes left in the show. If you guys haven't seen it, check out my Twitter feed. More importantly, check out Angel's Twitter feed at official Angel with a 1 instead of an L at the end. I feel like top NA Valorant teams will win something around 4 rounds max versus top EU squads. This was tweeted yesterday while the first strike qualifiers were going live. Were you watching matches and just disappointed with our play? Where did this tweet come from?
Yes, first of all, it's not what I really think, right? It was just a spicy tweet which I just wanted to came with. Second of all, yeah, it was like during I was watching some match. I don't remember which teams played. Yeah, but I was a bit disappointed of the way they played. It doesn't say they played bad. It just say it's completely differs from the vision I see how the really good team should play.
Okay.
And I think there's some really good teams, really promising teams in NA. And at this point, when I was watching it, I was really disappointed by the fact which came into my head that we're not gonna play each other for like 6 months at least. I have this feeling. I don't know why. And I was really disappointed, so I just decided to tweet something to engage with NA's scene. You know,
you engaged. I think 2.5 thousand people liked the tweet. Almost 90 retweets. People were up in arms about it, and you followed it up with kind of a good point. You felt like NA's strategy right now is to lock in Reyna and lock in Phoenix, and then just go. Is
actually,
that what you're most of the comments?
Like,
what did you see as an in-game leader watching other people play?
I think they're over. Like they think like duelist is too good, you know. They're and that's why they're not building good team play between each other. They kinda trying to play more solo roles, some highlight stuff, and that's why I was disappointed by them missing this like team play part of the game. which is obviously the most important part of Valorant. It creates so many possibilities of like engaging with each other, like playing out of your teammates. And I was disappointed that like a lot of NA teams is looking at it as like some quick game, just run and shoot or just run and kill. So that was kind of my way of saying like, boys, come on, you can be much better. You can come up with like some more team play, okay? And let's be honest, like some of the NA teams are going with the way of team play. I really like how 100 Thieves playing. I really like how Cloud9 playing, and I really love how Sentinels playing. Obviously, they have a lot of work to do more, but I really liked it. Yeah, I'm watching. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not watching a lot of those games, but I liked watching these three teams playing. They like bringing some new ideas into my mind, which I sometimes can use.
I saw you tweeting back and forth with TSM, who's probably going to be playing in that first strike qualifier, or I guess finals, I should say, in December. We know that now. So, what would it look like if your squad, if FPX matched up against TSM? What would the final score be, Angel?
I think 2-0, but I would say they would take 8 rounds. Okay,
8 rounds, 8 rounds across 2 games. That's 4 each game. It makes sense to me.
let's make it each map. Okay, let's make it each map. 8 rounds each map.
Awesome. Are you looking forward to finally playing the NA teams? Like, who do you most want to face off against after only playing in the European region?
I just want to face the best NA team. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure that it's not gonna happen near future, and I'm very disappointed, as I told you. Yeah, but it's gonna depend. Like when we first meet against an A scene, I want to play the best, and I want to prove that EU is better. Maybe at the point when we meet, NA gonna be better. Maybe us gonna be better. It's not important. I'm just a fan of close games. I'm just a fan of like really intense and important matches.
I love it. I think we should dive deep on Europe because a lot of our audience, myself included, we have trouble keeping up with all of the different regions. But let's educate everyone who may be in the chat right now. If you could list off maybe the top 5 or top 3 teams in EU right now, who is a threat for the title at any tournament?
Obviously, there is us and G2, who was fighting for the last like few tournaments, right, in the final or semi-final, depends where we met. Basically, we have like, I don't know, 5 maps lost and 4 is to G2 or something like this. I think we lost only to G2, and that's pretty disappointing. But I know we're like getting better and better. So I think us and G2 is like tier 1 in Europe, and there's a lot of really good teams which is catching up. It's like Guild team, Sam FC team, Liquid is obviously always with us. They're fighting for their chance to play like the final and to get this first place. NAP is also good, and that's why I'm really disappointed. Like teams like Guild and AP has just lost their qualifiers, and let's be honest, it mostly was because of like best of 1 single elimination system, right? And
I know this topic gets Dan fired up. Dan, dive into it.
Well, it's just shit, isn't it? It's just, I mean, we already talked about the fact that there's more variance in the game. There's just less rounds to play. So the fact that you have best of 1, like best of 1 in Counter-Strike is contentious enough in terms of competitive integrity. So it is surprising because it's not as though we have a hugely restricted schedule, right? Because that could be an argument as to why you'd have best of 1 versus and no best of 3s, because we don't have enough days to play the games, and the teams that have other tournaments that they have to we have to squeeze between these other tournaments, but there's nothing else going on really. There's nothing more important than first strike, so it is very baffling. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can just merely say I don't think it's good for competitive integrity, and I know that it's going to be very disappointing for a lot of teams, because when you play a format like that and you lose, it's one thing losing and feeling like I know we lost because we were we were the worst team on the day, but it's another thing to think, well, we lost both pistols and that just happens, and we made a couple wrong guesses and now we're out of the tournament. That's not a good feeling. So yeah, that's got to be rough. I mean, obviously Angel. I mean, Mike is here as well. He's. I don't know. Do you want to say anything on this, Mike?
Yeah, Mike, you want to chime in?
I mean, I said it yesterday in an interview that with this format, no one is really a winner. There's the teams that move on, but if you're like a lower seed team that beats a really good team, no one's going to validate your result because it's best of one. And if you're like a really good team that loses, no one's going to validate your loss because you lost in a best of one. So I don't think you can like really win that much with this format. There's no actual like integrity of the results or something you can pull away from it because people just dismiss it.
Angel, I know we have some awesome Riot folks who check out our show on a regular basis. What would your feedback be, just as an in-game leader and someone who's in the top tier of EU? Like, what would the future First Strike format look like for you in an ideal world? Because we still want to open it up, right? It's too early in Valorant to make it invitational only for all these events. So if you wanted to do something open, how do you do it the right way?
Actually, I didn't like both NA system and Europe system, but for different like reasons.
Okay.
NA system was too boring. There was like too many matches, too many best of threes, so the teams could like play some games relaxed. You know, there is like group stage, best of three, double elimination, really, and then we got like best of one, single elim. Oh, never mind. So. I would choose to have something like an equal but best of one. It would be much more interesting. Like every map matters. Or I would choose the Europe system but with best of three at least. Yeah. Like
Okay.
because to go through best of one single elimination bracket without the losses, you need to be like twice better than any your opponent. You know, you need to be like really twice better. If the teams are pretty much the same or one is like a little bit better, it can go random.
You were saying before the show that you were actually kind of nervous during your qualifier. You were in the first group that locked in, though. So what had you nervous throughout that run? We weren't able to catch all of your games on stream.
Like, to be honest, every game in best of one is really nervous. It's like, I think we had like the first game of the tournament, or maybe the first game in the place when we can be eliminated from the first qual. Yeah, I remember it was important game, and we was losing like 10-5 on Haven to some guys, the oil team. Let's give them some credits, right? We was losing like 10-5, and we managed to came back, but it was like really intense game. Their like jet went crazy and get like 30 frags, so we had to sweat a lot.
Get a little sweaty.
Yeah, but all other games was like pretty comfort because we learned a lesson that we couldn't relax against any opponent even for like 5 minutes because it can go all wrong, you know.
Understood. I have a few Twitter questions coming in, Dan, but go ahead and hit this next topic. Guys, if you have questions in the chat, by the way, we're going to try and get these in for the final 10 minutes of the show. So hit Angel up with your best and brightest questions now.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask a little bit about the like playing at the top level in Europe and at the top level in this game in general. You know, you talked about, you know, G2 is obviously a tricky opponent. In your experience, again as an in-game leader, is it different preparing for playing against you know, the top teams? Like for example, against G2, you've played them so many times. There is a specific meta for FPX versus G2. They expect some things from you, you expect things from them. Do you have more tools in Valorant to handle this situation? Or how do you feel about like preparing for these top tier matchups against teams that you've already played a bunch?
It's like, to be honest, it's not about our enemy, how good he is. Yeah, the preparation is more about how important is the match. Yeah, so like for example, when we played opportunists, we tried to gather as much info as we could on them. Yeah, obviously there is no demos. Yeah, we're still watching the VODs, but I'm fine with it. To be honest, I'm not sure I want demos to come. You know, because it's gonna be so easy to study us, and I know where's a team who is not playing any meta. Yeah, we're not playing Jet. We're trying some new agents. We're trying some cool stuff all the time, every tournament, and the fact of having demos will benefit other teams, not us. So we're just watching what. Yeah, we're preparing for, like, for example, if it's the game against G2, but it's just the first game of the qualifier in best of 3 double elimination group stage. Whew. We're not gonna prepare that much as we would if it would be like semi-final.
It makes sense. Yeah. The whole demo thing is really interesting because this game is a bit different than CS in that sense. I feel like it reminds me more of StarCraft when pros would want to hide their build orders in StarCraft because it's if you know my build order, you can specifically dismantle it with your own preparation, and that would actually make for some really shitty games. So you'd have to actually like hide matches, and so in StarCraft, in Brood War, they would do that by having their own in-house B team, and then they would the main team would play against the B team, and then that everything would be hidden. Is that something you guys have talked about? Maybe like an academy team, like teams that you can hide stuff with by just playing against only them.
There is no point of doing it right now in Valorant. You can just proc and not save your game history, so it's not gonna show anything to anyone. Same goes for like tournaments. We're not attending every tournament we can, right? So we have always time to prepare and came up with something new. And I'm trying to evolve everything. So basically FPX, which you saw like previous tournament, it's definitely not the one you're gonna see next.
Angel, I love listening to you, and I love that you think about this game differently and refuse to play the meta. Like, how many people have the balls to do that? It's kind of ridiculous. How many other brains like yours are there right now in this scene? Are there other in-game leaders you look up to in Europe, in-game leaders in North America or Korea that you've been looking at? How do you get inspired? Who else do you look at to improve your own play?
Obviously, I'm watching like top tier games from NA and Asia, yeah, but I'm not looking anyone specifically, right? I can watch some best of one, like one of the first game on CIS quals, because there's like some young teams playing, and to be honest, bringing something in from them is happening more often to me than watching some like tier 1 matches, because they're not afraid of trying, they're not following the meta, they're not trying to, they just doing some stuff, what they like. And I think that is one of the best ways to approach this game. You just need to do what you like. You need, like, your players should love the agents they play, and your player should love the way your team is playing, right? So I'm not trying really to watch like something by purpose. I'm just watching the Twitch. Oh, some like Cloud9 game happening. Nice. I would like to watch it. I have nothing to do right now. Maybe they will like bringing something interesting. Yeah, some detail which I can improve my game with. Something like this.
I get that. All right. I had some questions from the chat, Dan. This first one is, I think we touched on it earlier. This one came from Twitter. They want to know, Keith Law Fortune, who is in the chat, shout out to Keith. What is NA lacking that makes you feel that we're behind EU? You mentioned it was a little bit of the team play. Is there any other more detailed descriptions you could give there of where NA could step up their game to keep up with EU?
Like to repeat what I said before, I think they need to pay more attention to team play instead of some individual play style. Yeah, that's the main reason why I think NA is right now is a bit behind you.
Josh PogChamp wants to know, who is the strongest NA team in your opinion right now?
It's actually an interesting question. I'm not sure about it. I think it's like either Sentinels, either 100 Thieves, but probably Sentinels.
Sentinels are 100 Thieves. That's high praise for Nitro and the crew. They've only shown us in one tournament so far. What do you like about 100 Thieves that you've seen?
Their approach. I like the way they have like few experienced guys, yeah, and I'm really like a big fan of like Nitro and the guys. They was doing like really good job in CS:GO, and I feel like they have a potential to build something new in Valorant. They're not gonna approach the way most of the players does it. That's my hope, at least.
Yeah, one thing quickly, because the last couple of VOD reviews analysis I did was their matches, and I really like the fact that they on the defense, it's really interesting. Their team has a lot of cool chemistry. The fact that they got Asuna and Dicey, who definitely like these cracked youngsters who are super awesome together. They like play with each other so well, and they have all of these like it's like watching Astralis sometimes in CS, where you'd see Astralis on the defense every single round is a different setup every single round, and that's what they're trying to do in this game, and it's actually a lot harder than it looks, I think, to accomplish that. And from what I've seen, they are doing that quite well. So that's something that I think bodes very well for their future.
Mhm.
And if you watch their games, it's I can't imagine how difficult it is to play against that in this game, because you can never take it for granted that they'll ever have the same thing. So you have to be on your feet at all times. It's interesting.
Yeah, I can agree with you, and that's one of the things I liked in their game. I think they need just some time. They qualified for first strike finals, right? So
Yeah,
I
they're
think
They're
they
in.
have time to prepare their game, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like really strong at the finals.
yeah, for sure.
Speaking of, are we seeing Icebox and Sky in the EU finals of First Strike?
Yeah, like
And so, what are your
potentially
thoughts
yes.
on the changes to the game here? Does this make you nervous as an in-game leader? How much time do you even have to prep for a new map?
No, not that much to be honest. Um, like I'm not sure about new map, how much we're gonna play it. It depends because obviously all the teams will have a ban. So if you want, you can avoid it. So I'm not sure like what our approach gonna be on it.
Okay.
But in terms of Sky, we spent like this week of playing Sky on every map just to try him out. Like every player gets their chance to play it, except me and Meadow. Yeah,
Got it.
even Zipan played it. So we was trying to figure it out how we can potentially put her into our picks and how to use her. And obviously, I'm not gonna give you an answer on that.
Okay. We won't know who's running it, but it's not Angel, guys, until it's Angel. Wait till it's live. I'm excited. I mean, changes are always good. I don't know if I want to see it happen mid-tournament or see it waited till after the event was over. But either way, I love that you guys are going to be ready for it. I have a question here from Muniz, which is any interesting CIS teams we should take a look at? You mentioned up and coming squads that you like to learn from, potential new strategies or team comps. Any squads that our NA fans should become familiar with over in CIS?
Interesting question. To be honest, I can't really name someone. There's like obviously some names like Gambit, Forza, but I'm not sure I like watching them because Gambit is trying to follow the EU meta. Yeah, it's not a mistake. Yeah, there benefit from it, but it's not the place where I can find something new from my side. So I mostly watch some games in CIS which I can never remember. It's like one
All good.
like let me check it. Like I'm just opening like some calls, just try to remember which games I played. Like I watched, it was some like just random like quarterfinals, from CIS games, just to see maybe they have something new, maybe they bring something new that we can use. But no one I can like call right now.
This one is always difficult to answer, but I'd like you to try. Top 5 players in Europe right now.
Mm, yeah, it's not the easy question. That's true. But I would definitely put Shao and Zipan there. Like, definitely. Uh, hmm. To be honest, I would put whole my team. Like, because I don't like to split, like, I don't like to judge the players by the frags.
Right.
But I know for sure that, like, the bridge player plays in my team, the best Cypher player plays in my team, the best Trace and best Sova players plays in my team also.
Must be nice.
I'm not gonna judge myself. I don't think it's right. So
we'll have to pick someone from G2. Who slips into the top 5 if not
G2,
Angel?
I would take Piff.
Excellent. Mike is smiling right now. uh, I like it. We have Petrov with his own top 5 in the chat, guys. We have a few more minutes with Angel. If you have any questions, get them in last minute here. Angel, what do you want the fans to know? Are you making content? Where should we follow you? How do we get to know your team better as North American fans and everyone who's tuning in from around the globe?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, join us on the European finals, but I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna watch it, right?
Yep.
Like first track finals. I have some YouTube channel, but it's obviously on Russian language. I'm not gonna share anything with you, as I've told you. And nothing else. I'm not the social kind of guy. I don't like the social medias. Maybe like some drunk tweet once a year.
I need
So
those.
you can follow my Twitter.
Yeah, follow Twitter for the drunk tweets once a year. We have a holiday coming up, so hopefully it's coming soon. This one from The Wasted. Angel is one of the first players I've seen to really value alt orbs, but you seem to pretty much be the only one who still does so. Why is that? First of all, is it true? Do you still really value the alt orb?
Yeah,
And
of course.
B, do you think it's weird that more teams aren't prioritizing these?
And yes, I think it's really weird. We're
Why-
like things. Like, I think you need to pay attention to all the details of the game. Yeah, it makes you better. Like ult orbs is one of the things you need to focus on. Like the proper guy to plant the bomb, the proper guy to go for eco hunt, the proper guy who take the orb during default, the proper default so you have opportunity to take it. It's like just one of the like 100 things where I'm thinking about when I'm building our game. And I don't know why no one is valuing it, to be honest. It gives you obviously an advantage, right?
Right. You're just thinking next level already. Dan, chat wants to know, where are you at right now? Is that a green screen? Is this real forestry?
Hey man, it's an undisclosed location. Okay, it's just that's all you need to know.
Undisclosed
Okay,
location.
It's 4 degrees Fahrenheit. No, sorry, 4 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's cold, man. I'm near a mountain. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Excellent. Dan, we have time for one more question, and then we got to let Angel go. Angel, got to give you a big shout out for coming on the show, man. It's great to see that mustache.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I like you like it.
Mike, do you have a question?
Who's the team that you're most looking forward to play in the entirety of the playoffs for First Strike?
Like obviously G2. Obviously G2.
Nice.
I really hope it's going to be in the final. I'm sure it's going to be a great final.
And who is that win the sweetest over? Is it an individual player? Is it Carlos himself? Is it just getting revenge in general? Why do you want to win that match so bad?
I just want to become the best team in EU. Nothing personal to G2, Carlos, or anyone else. I'm just coming for it.
All right, Carlos, I'm going to make it personal. When he wins, I'm going to send the shit talk text message or DM. But Angel's going to be a good guy. Angel, want to thank you for coming on the show tonight, guys. This was Immortal Minds episode 27. They've been crushing it. Glad to officially be a part of it. And Angel, one of the many faces of Europe that we hope to have on the show again in the future. Dude, you're killing it. You're evolving the game. You're making us all better by doing it. We appreciate you. Will you ever stream again? Is there ever a time I can watch your stream?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, probably after First Strike, I'm gonna spend some weeks of streaming, like talking with my audience. I don't know.
There we go.
Again, it's gonna be on Russian.
I'm slowly learning Russian just to pay attention to your stream and now your YouTube channel. Angel, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.